Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You know, as I was recording these Let's Talk videos, one thing I was noticing as I was in particular looking at the Sweetwater website was just how much, let's say, interesting advertising copy I was running across. You know, when you look at the ad, you see the description of the product, the guitar in this case, and you're seeing some claims or you're seeing some descriptions that sound a little too good to be true, a little just unusual. So what I wanted to do as sort of a fun thing was to look at some of the more audacious claims or some of the more head-scratching claims that are made, particularly by Sweetwater, because I don't know if you realize this, but Sweetwater has a team that writes the product descriptions for these guitars or any gear they're selling. When I compared it to what the manufacturer or the vendor was listing, sometimes it's completely two different things. Before I go any further, what I'm not looking to do is to insult the guitar, a brand, a company, or people who do this for a living. I understand there's hundreds of guitars, thousands of guitars these people have to describe or review. So, you know, sometimes they have to go and just stretch some things out and make a mountain out of a molehill, as it were. So today we're going to look at a handful of descriptions and guitar listings on Sweetwater and kind of go into these places where I thought, you know, gosh, these listings look a little absurd. I find that with new guitar players in particular, you're going to be more susceptible to what these ads say. And I thought maybe I'd try to bring some clarity or maybe a different opinion, because a lot of what I'm going to say is opinion. Feel free to disagree with me down in the comments. And, or if you like it, feel free to like and subscribe as well. But anyway, so let's go over some of these ads. I picked a handful of these out that I thought were pretty audacious in their claims or the descriptions. And let's start with, as you can tell from the guitar behind me here, I'm going to start right off with the Fender Aerodyne Strat Special Strat. Fender Aerodyne Special Strat in white. Obviously mine is blue. So Sweetwater has these for $9.99. As if you've seen my earlier video, I picked up the blue one for $5.99. Obviously Fender has lowered their price considerably. They used to be $12.99. I think they've listened to some of the feedback that told them that this price was a little too high for people to spend on this type of guitar. For more about this guitar and my review and unboxing, there's a video for that. I might link it below or after this video. But anyway, so I'm looking through this guitar. I don't know what took me here. I think the original review kind of brought me some of this. So one of the things I noticed, so when you look at these ads, by the way, you're looking at Sweetwater. If you're a new guitar player, you're like, oh, that guitar looks cool. Look at all the features, painted headstock. So you're scrolling down here and you're seeing all the accessories, the cases, and then you start seeing this stuff. By the way, this is the Sweetwater product research team. These are the people responsible for all of this ad copy that we're going to read. I'm not going to click on the picture. I don't, you know, they list all the people. By the way, you know, they're just doing their jobs. We're just having a little fun here, but all the same, I thought we would address some of this. So if you will allow me to read this paragraph for you, and we'll kind of pick through this out, all right? Looking for a Strat that stands out from the crowd, the Fender Aerodyne Special Stratocaster's futuristic style is a bold new take on one of the most iconic six strings around. Right off the bat, the Aerodyne Special's pickguard-less design, bound basswood body, and aerodynamic lines make for a powerful stylistic statement. This is no ordinary Strat. A trio of Fender Aerodyne Special pickups reinforce this claim with vintage-style voice that's updated with modern power and performance. Okay, so let's just stop right there with that statement. So let's just back this train up. A trio of Fender Aerodyne Special pickups reinforce this claim with vintage-style voice that's updated with modern power and performance. Now, I have, in this review video that I did a couple of months back, I measured the output on these pickups, and they were coming in at like 6.5K output. That's not modern at all. There's nothing modern about this guitar from its pickups. Here, I'll just kind of switch you over here. I mean, I did the video, I analyzed the pickups on this thing, and I'm telling you, everything about the way these pickups sound is vintage. There's nothing modern about it. Okay? I don't understand where that claim comes from. I don't understand where this claim of updated with modern power and performance. I don't know where. It's an Alnico 5 pickup with about a 6.5K output. It sounds extremely vintage. It sounds like a Stratocaster. That's why I got it. I wanted a Stratocaster to sound like a Stratocaster. You know, we've talked about this with the Charvel as an alternative. The Charvel comes with I would say, modern sounding pickups as compared to this. The one thing about this guitar that I talked about is how it looks modern, but everything about it in many ways is not modern and very classic sounding. So that was just an interesting part of this description that I just couldn't understand. You know, again, are you just looking for things to say? Is this really... Where are you coming up with this modern voicing? Because I'm just not hearing it at all. I want to do one more thing. This is actually not part of the Sweetwater website. This is actually just part of the Fender website. So there's your California Blue. One of the other things that I want to point out, and it's not relevant to Sweetwater, like I said, but it's something if you're a new guitar player, you're going to run into this a lot, where people make claims that are hard to disprove, but if you know anything about guitars, it's a little tough to believe. So if you look down here on the highlights, this part here, slim Aerodyne basswood body with bound carved top. The first sentence, basswood is a premium tonewood, celebrated for its balance of clear highs, powerful mid-range, and warm lows. No, it's not. I don't even know where to start with this. So basswood is not a premium tonewood. First of all, I don't want to get into the tonewood debate of solid body guitars. That's a whole nother topic. Even if there is tonal properties within the wood of a solid body electric guitar, basswood is not celebrated as a premium tonewood. It's just not. It's just not. I mean, how many Paul Reed Smith guitars have basswood? How many premium style guitars have basswood? And again, I like my Strat. It's a basswood body. I have no issue with it. So why would they say something like this? Well, basswood is a very inexpensive wood. Basswood is a very soft wood. It's easy to carve. It's easy to cut. It's lightweight. So it's very abundant. If you just go online and look up the price of basswood versus mahogany versus maple versus any other sort of more exotic wood, you're going to find that basswood is a very affordable. It's easily found. There's no restrictions about exporting it or importing it. And when you're a guitar manufacturer and you're shipping guitars, why not get a lighter guitar if you can? And with Fender Japan, they do have a pretty long history of using basswood, even on their nicer quote-unquote Strats. Again, this is a $1,000 Stratocaster still. So again, I like it. I don't have an issue with the tonal properties that I'm hearing or not hearing in it, but stop lying and saying that it's a premium tone wood. That just seems like a lie to me. I guess you can't prove that it's not, but just do 5 seconds of research on Google, okay? And tell me that basswood's a premium tone wood. Find one interview with Paul Reed Smith where he's talking about the tonal properties of basswood. You know, I mean, if anyone's going to be a big hype machine for the tonewood properties of a solid body guitar, it would be that guy. And I don't think there's anything out there with him talking about how great basswood is. So kind of aside on this, it's not part of the Sweetwater website, but I just found this just audacious. What a ridiculous claim. A basswood, premium tonewood. Seriously, look them up. Look up that phrase anywhere. Okay, next I want to pick on the Larry Carlton, the Sire. In this case, I want to pick on the L7V. And by the way, I'm not really picking on these guitars. Like I said, I'm just picking on this audacious advertising copy, most of which is completely created by Sweetwater and their team, because like I said, I'm not finding a lot of these claims on the manufacturer's website. So really cool. Essentially a P90 loaded Les Paul style guitar. Looks great. Obviously something to compete with the Gibson and Epiphone versions of these, which Gibson's version's about $27.99, so you're saving about $2,000 with the Sire. A really cool brand for the most part. Let me know if you're interested in a Let's Talk video on the Sire series. They do have some really cool options and really cool features at a great budget price. One of the newer brands that's really taken people by storm. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about some audacious, ridiculous ad copy, and boy, it just hits you right right on the top. There's something about this top paragraph that has some of the most ridiculous ad copy when you get into these guitar descriptions. Allow me to read. Sire's Larry Carlton L7V electric guitar is built to match the exacting standards of its legendary namesake, providing you with top-end tonal tools ready to take on both the stage and studio. This instrument begins with the traditional maple top mahogany construction to deliver a rich sonic foundation that simply sings with sustain. All right, I'm going to let that pass. Next, the mahogany neck takes a bit of a turn from the classic specs of its predecessors, instead opting for the dark and elegant feel of a beautiful ebony fingerboard. There's a lot of Les Pauls that have an ebony fingerboard. That's okay. Here we go. From clean to dirty and rhythm to lead, the mahogany body imbues each note on the L7V with a warm and resonant foundation, an ideal complement to the brightness and clarity of the dual LC vintage P90s. A slab of maple tops the mahogany body to add just a touch more clarity to your tone, allowing even the most complex of chord voicings to ring clear and true. Do you know why they put maple on the top of the mahogany body? Because you can do this. You can do a big flame top. Because mahogany doesn't really get you that sort of mahogany, doesn't do the same thing as maple. And you know what else? This is a veneer. It has a maple cap, but it's got a veneer on top of it. So tell me about the tonal properties again, about a veneer-topped maple cap sitting on top of a mahogany body with a couple of pickups in it. Again, this warm, bright touch of clarity, like, what are you talking about? That doesn't do any, like a maple cap isn't going to imbue a touch of clarity. Then all these Les Paul Juniors that everyone's buying up, that is just a slab of mahogany. What about the SGs? That's just a slab of mahogany. Those don't have the touch of clarity in mid-range or whatever. I mean, again, this is what I'm talking about. I find that a lot of this ad copy doesn't hit the higher end guitars because it seems like those people might know better than to believe this sort of stuff. But then you get these sort of mid-price guitars or beginner guitars where they say things and they think that no one's going to really call them out on it, because most people probably don't, because a lot of people don't read this. But this is a ridiculous claim. It's a veneer. It's a veneer on a maple cap on a mahogany body. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But to claim that this maple cap imbues tonal properties, prove it. I just don't see it. I don't hear it. Now, you can believe it and you can see it, and if you can hear it, good for you. And if you love this guitar, great. I'm not even knocking the guitar. I'm sure it's a great guitar. But this ad copy just makes it seem like there's something magical going on with adding a maple cap. It's aesthetic. It just looks cool. That's why I like maple caps. They look cool. That's it. There's nothing else going on there. Tell me otherwise. Point me to a video, research that a maple cap provides a difference in the tone to your solid body electric guitar. All right, that's debatable. But what is just ridiculous is something like this. The ideal complement to your brightness and clarity. The slab of maple, just a touch, just to make everything articulate. Really? It's not the pickups that are doing that. It's not the big microphones that are slapped into your guitar that's adding clarity or less clarity. Come on. Here's another slightly different one. This is something that I think they just ran out of things to say, so they just went with it. Compared to the humbucker-equipped L7, these pickups amp your note-to-note articulation. I don't know what that means. They amp up your note-to-note articulation, taking you from smoothy jazz tones on the neck to the throaty bark on the bridge position. Moreover, the LC Vintage Soap Bar P90s are exceptionally reactive to your guitar's tone and volume controls, allowing you to run your amp hot for high-octane overdrive, then settle down with rich harmonic cleans with the flick of a knob. Every pickup does this. Every pickup that's hooked up to a volume. You can roll the volume back and you can roll it out. There's nothing special about these pickups because they're reactive to your amp. All pickups are reactive to your amp because they're microphones, and how reactive those microphones attached to your guitar are is going to react to the amp. These things all work together. It's P90s. They're single coils, so they're going to be a little noisy too. You notice that doesn't get mentioned as much. They're nice pickups, by the way. P90s are great. These Sires are really nice guitars, but again, you're just selling this bill of goods, I think, to somebody who's maybe never played a guitar, never maybe played a P90 equipped guitar, but harmonic rich cleans. Explain to me what a harmonic rich clean is. You know, it's just, these are just words that people like to say to sell guitars. And again, I get it. You got to sell guitars. You got to sell guitars. I'm okay with even this phrase. You get a tone-enhancing bone nut and sustain-boosting set neck joint. I don't know if that's true or not. Bone nuts are nice. You know, it's a nice feature. They're better than plastic. Are they like tonally going to take you into a new stratosphere of sound? I don't know. Sometimes they're a little nicer. They don't seem to bunch up on me. So I don't really hear a tonal difference. Like if I played a guitar with a plastic nut and one with a bone nut, could I tell the difference? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. Anyway, seriously though, this is a really cool looking guitar, despite all the goofy ad copy going on here. I know that sounds like I'm crapping on this guitar. I think these Sire guitars are really cool. Some of the necks are a little thin for me, just overall. Just kind of my thoughts, but the guitars look great in person, and they're satin finished on the back. I think this one is too. I know we're not getting off on a tangent here talking about Sire, but that's really cool. And they're locking tuners, right? Yeah, locking tuners. Come on, man. On a Les Paul. Get out of here. See? Sire, don't be mad at me. Okay, we can't talk about tonal properties on solid body guitars without even once bringing up the Paul Reed Smith SE CE 24 Standard Satin electric guitar. At $499, I believe this is the most affordable Paul Reed Smith SE on the market right now for sale. Correct me if I'm wrong down below in the comments. Overall, really cool looking. Obviously, it's satin finished. That saves you a little bit of time in the old shop, not having to gloss it up. As we'll read below, they find a way to twist that into some sort of specialness about it. Bolt on. Okay, here we go. Now, again, look at this. Look at this. We're on the first paragraph. Let me read this beautiful poetry before you here, okay? The PRS SE line is famous for punching above its price point, and the new satin-finished SE CE 24 Standard Satin electric guitar intensifies that trend with an unassuming all-purpose electric guitar value that both hobbyists and pros will appreciate. A traditional mahogany body supplies flexible tonal foundations and lasting sustain that paves the way for the unfettered genre range of the PRS-designed humbuckers on board. What's more, the SE CE 24 features a bolt-on maple neck with a wide, thin profile, just like its USA-made counterparts. A long-anticipated recent refinement of the CE 24. A maple neck adds brightness and a slight percussive energy to your playing. Let's just read that last sentence together, shall we? A long-anticipated recent refinement of the CE 24, a maple neck, adds brightness and a slight percussive energy to your playing. I mean, come on. Do you believe that? Do you think that a maple neck adds brightness and a slight percussive energy to your playing? What does that mean, a slight percussive energy to your playing? What could that possibly mean? Could the product research team over here tell me what a slight percussive energy is? I feel like was this written at like 4:45 on a Friday, and they're like, all right, guys, we got to finish this up. Time to get out of here. Head down to Hammer Hands for some brews. But before we do, let's finish this CE 24 description. What do you got? And someone's like, the maple neck. Percussive energy, it's bright, snappier. You always hear this, by the way, too, that maple necks are snappier and bolt-ons are snappier than set necks. It's just absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Again, blindfold yourself. Give me some stats that there's a snappierness, a brighter neck. It's a brighter sounding neck to put in maple neck. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't want to get into the tonewood debate, but come on with the maple, it's brighter, snappy sounding neck. Okay, so there's just one piece right there. We're at the first paragraph, and I'm worried about to lose my mind here, right? Let's just talk about how they saved a bunch of money by making these satin instead of gloss. These are like polyurethane, gloss urethane, by the way. Not obviously not a gloss, but it's some sort of urethane finish, by the way, which if you're Paul Reed Smith, that ruins your wood. It doesn't allow your tonality of your tone woods to make big sounds, right? So I'm surprised that he's even putting this out. Let's just get right to the fun part of this. The new iteration of the SE CE 24 embraces the latter with an energizing satin finish that's breathable and invigorating. It's breathable and invigorating, the satin finish. The SE CE 24 Standard Satin's finish invites you with a streamlined feel that weighs less than gloss. Did you know satin weighs less than gloss? Where do you come up with this? You'll feel the difference in the satin finished maple neck's more intimate response to hand movements, and the entire guitar mirrors that agility in ways that activate inner chops. So why even bother with the full gloss guitar? Put down that tin top you dropped $6,000 on with that nitrocellulose finish, and get yourself a satin urethane. This is clearly the tonal master of the whole PRS line, according to this description. And I get it. You can't say, hey, it was cheaper for them to put this out at $500 if we put it in a satin finish. And to be fair, a satin finish neck is a nicer feeling neck in many ways. But come on with this whole idea that it's, sometimes you don't want that shiny guitar. You want the more immediate. It breathes. It's more of an intimate response. Explain to me what an intimate response is. Intimate response. Again, these are like $500 guitars. These are they're trying to get you into a guitar. It's like your second or third guitar, or maybe you haven't played guitar for a while, and all of a sudden now they're going to throw these big words at you. Snappier maple neck. It's percussive and brighter. And this satin finish, it's more immediate and it's more intimate. And it's a guitar. It's a guitar. You either like it or you don't. It's got a satin finish on it instead of a gloss finish. Hey, I'm sure it's a really nice guitar. I like the PRS SE line for the most part. I'm not a big fan of the guitars aesthetically because I just grew up in the era of just way too much Creed and just so much this post-grunge stuff where it's Santana, everyone playing these style of guitars. But they are very nice playing guitars. Very nice quality. Someone asked me to do a Let's Play of the SE line. I don't know. There's just so much I don't know about PRS, to be fair, because I don't play a ton of them, but everyone I've played I've always liked. But like I said, I just found this completely audacious, and I don't know if it's, again, when I lit on the PRS website, none of this was on here. So this is all them completely whipping this up. Just finish this up here. I'm going to put this down. So the PRS CE bolt-on brilliance since 1988. Since 1988, the CE series has served as Paul Reed Smith's premier line of bolt-on electric guitars. While the vast majority of PRS guitars come equipped with mahogany set neck construction, guitars such as this SE CE 24 instead feature a sturdy 4-bolt maple neck. What's the difference? Well, glad you asked. The bolt-on neck found on the CE series PRS guitars transforms your tone with a sharper attack and a somewhat more percussive snap to the notes. There's no better or worse. Both set neck and bolt-on necks boast a tone all of their own, or they're the same, with each with a past rooted in the long and storied tradition of electric guitar building. Get a set neck or get a bolt-on, who cares? I mean, this whole snappy or maple neck, maple feels different than mahogany. Satin feels different than gloss. It feels different. It looks different. It feels different. Does it sound different? You're probably not going to notice even if it does. Most of us don't play guitar enough to notice these subtle differences. If Nuno Betancourt says that he can hear the difference between a painted and a non-painted guitar, I think he believes that. But most of us are never going to hear it if there is ever any tonal differences. And to say something like this, what's the difference? They all have their own unique tonal range. They might, but it's not the neck that's giving it this vast difference in tonal variety, right? Come on. Okay, I know we're picking on PRS just a little too hard, but I got to give them a second round here. The PRS McCarty 594 SE. By the way, a gorgeous looking guitar. If I was to own a PRS, it would probably be the McCarty 594 SE or otherwise. That's the one shape I like. I've played them. They're cool. Chunkier neck, at least the ones I've played. The doves are not really my thing. It's a little too ornate for my touch. But cool guitar. So again, let's look at the first paragraph because this is where my mind just starts exploding from the very start, okay? The SE McCarty 594 electric guitar marks the model's debut within the SE series, bringing the tonal might and effortless playability because these things play like butter. That's a whole nother phrase we could get into. The tonal might and effortless playability of one of Paul's most iconic models to the masses. Just like its core line series, this 6-string boasts an elegant tonewood pairing of mahogany and maple, a time-tested combo that imparts both warmth and definition to your every note. Again, with this whole, the maple cap is just, it's the cherry on top of this tonal sundae. No, it's not. It just, again, maple looks cool as a top. And by the way, veneer, everything we've talked about that's had this magical maple property, a veneer. So it doesn't matter, even if the maple did have, you slapped a big veneer on top of it. So I don't know how tone works, if there's tone wood, and if tone wood's a thing. I don't know how much a little piece of maple slapped on top of a big piece of maple, slapped on top of a big piece of mahogany is really going to send your tonal expectations into the stratosphere. Again, we got to sell a $900 guitar. So I guess this is what we're going to talk about. Again, here they go. They just keep going into this. The mahogany forms the core of this guitar's body, adding heft and weight to your every note. In contrast, the maple imparts an articulate edge that allows everything from single notes to roaring rhythm to cut right through the band situation, right through, thanks to that maple top, that veneered maple top. It's a formidable tonewood duo, and there's good reason why the vast majority of PRS guitars harness its sonic potential. The sonic potential of mahogany and maple. Yeah, again, you can believe it. I'm not saying you're an idiot if you own this guitar or if you believe that, but come on, Sweetwater, not even PRS puts this on their website, and Paul Reed Smith likes to say some really crazy things with tonewood. Somebody over at Sweetwater just loves the tonal properties of a maple cap. Again, show me where the maple cap makes a difference. Anything other than aesthetics. And again, I like the maple cap. I like the look of it, especially a big, thick 3/4 maple cap. I like the depth on it. But again, I don't look at it as it's the center of all my tone. Forget the pickups or the pedals or the amps. It's all about that 3/4 maple cap on top, right? I know I'm busted balls on the PRS stuff hard, but man, oh man, I don't know what it is. Like I said, none of this is on their vendor description, so I don't know if Paul Reed Smith came in here and wrote all this himself, but unbelievable some of the stuff they put in here. A time-tested combo of a mahogany body and a flame maple veneer maple top. Deliver a classic tone. Yeah, it's that veneered maple top. Holy cow, you got it. We figured it out, gang. Okay, I'm doing one more guitar and then I'm done with this. And we've never looked at BC Rich, and frankly, no one's really been looking at BC Rich in the past 10 years, and there's probably a good reason why. $1,600 for this guitar. It does have a lot of things going on with it. Not a gig bag in sight, not a case in sight. It's got a Floyd Rose 1000 that you can get on an $800 Kramer. But by God, it's got all this gaudy looking quilted maple top, all these switches. Again, this is the BC Rich BST. They used to call it something else. I'll let you at home kind of figure out what they called it. I'm trying to keep this family friendly, but for those of you who play guitars, they did have a name for quite some time. I guess this is their way to try to introduce themselves back into the market. I'm not sure where this is made. I'm going to say Korea because it's not made in America. Anyway, none of this is really that important. You can see it's kind of a neck-through construction, kind of their classic look. Like I said, all the crazy knobs and switches for all their tonal varieties. The big thing I want to lead on is of this right here. The rich foundations paragraph. Folks, I don't want to I hate to just kind of just read ad copy, but this is really something to behold. This is like when the BS goes through the roof as far as incredible ad copy that you just have to wonder, what the hell were you thinking when you wrote this, right? Rich foundations. Fine cuts of high-grade Natoya make up the Rich BST Legacy's body and neck. A mahogany-like tonewood, Natoya is a rising favorite for robust rock tone with hearty punch, sustain, and invigorating clarity. They're using Natoya because there's problems with mahogany and exporting mahogany. It's true. Look it up. Exporting mahogany is kind of a little tricky. Importing it, exporting it, it's tricky. I bought guitars from Japan, and they get real weird if there's mahogany in the guitar, even if it's an older one. So mahogany is a problem right now. So they're using Natoya. That's why they're using it and not mahogany. If it was Gibson, they'd use mahogany, but since these are built in Korea, they're going to use Natoya. Ibanez does it. A lot of companies, nothing wrong with it. But stop doing this thing like, oh, we found a mahogany-like tonewood that's going to explode your face off. Like, we had no choice. The Natoya was probably at a better value, and the Natoya doesn't come with all these crazy restrictions about importing and exporting. So we went with the Natoya. Okay? I mean, that's what happened. I get it. Doesn't sound as sexy for ad copy or as appealing, but that's what happened here. Factor in quilted maple, and the sound strolls onto center field at the ballpark of legendary rock tone. Remember this, the ballpark of legendary rock tone. Get ready for thick mid-range, for heaving bass and treble that simply sings. A winning recipe for home run riffs on any stage. You think they're done with the baseball puns? Oh, far from it. A firm grip is a must for knocking notes out of the park. And the Rich B Legacy ST gives players only the best with a C-shaped neck carve designed for modern comfort. And a 14-inch radius for fast fretting across the flat and open field of a sleek ebony fretboard. Finally, the fingerboard's 24 jumbo-sized frets are optimized for rigorous bends, so notes ring out and slide safely into home instead of being stranded on third. Thank God for that 14-inch radius fretboard. Otherwise, what would we do without the maple fretboard? Simply would not be able to play as rich, sleek, singing notes, searing highs and mid-range and lows, the likes of which we've never seen. I mean, I know BC Rich is in trouble, but man, I know they probably didn't. I don't know if they got this cleared by BC Rich or what happens, but Lord Almighty, I know you got to sell some guitars here, but let's get real, folks. Oh gosh. Okay, now let's just. I know I want to wrap this up, but man, let's just keep talking about these pickups, this description. By the way, I love DiMarzio pickups. Nothing against DiMarzio, but this description should make Larry DiMarzio sick to his stomach. This is ridiculous. 2 onboard DiMarzio deactivator humbuckers bring the best of both worlds, a little heaven right here on earth, as Sammy Hagar would say. The powerful harmonic saturation of active humbuckers and the lively character and response of passive pickups. Deactivator humbuckers are built for screaming harmonic saturation that teases out every drop of tone your strings possess. These pickups scream, squeal, and soar with ease. Indeed, Sweetwater guitarists turn to deactivators for arena-ready tone ripe for single note runs, chunky power chords, and even more subtle rhythm work with a sweet spot sound between modern and vintage. Each deactivator features dedicated quill tap switches for each pickup, yielding additional tonal possibilities and making for an excellent tool for gigs and recording. Tap the bridge as a single quill, then deftly switch to the neck humbucker on the fly or vice versa for big dynamic contrasts that pop. To make switching stage ready, DiMarzio voiced the neck and bridge pickups as set. Most neck and bridge pickups have drastically different outputs, but the volume divide between the deactivators is nearly invisible and perfectly balanced for fast switching on stage. Woo! Now look, those pickups do sound like they're pretty cool, but holy cow with this, they scream, they squeal, and they soar with ease. I mean, as opposed to what? Pickups that hard? I don't understand. Like vintage pickups, you have to push them harder. Like, what are we trying to say? They're hot. They're super hot output pickups. And you can quill tap them. And they're DiMarzio. And they're balanced. They're like, there's not... And that's what you talk about. There's so much chuff here where it's just banter. Without an advanced math degree, it's tough to begin counting the possible combinations and voices on board this guitar. There are no wrong answers. Toggle away and find what works for you. Gosh, why is BC Rich in so much trouble when this guitar clearly is the answer to all my tonal troubles? Huh? Okay, I know, we're just having fun. Like I said, this is just so ridiculous. And I hope that most of you watching this are not fooled by any of this. You're just having a good time with this too. Again, I buy guitars. There's nothing wrong with advertising this stuff. I buy from Sweetwater. I have no problem with them. But some of this stuff is just ridiculous. And as I was looking through this for the Let's Talk, I just came across some of these ads, and I just thought I'd have to share them with you. A really short episode just to do something kind of fun. I really hope you appreciated what we're kind of doing here. If you've got any ideas for some more maybe absurd ad copy and guitars, or maybe horrible, not horrible, but maybe kind of audacious Sweetwater descriptions for gear, please send them along. Put them in the comments. You can always visit us at www.sepulpaguitaracademy.com. Follow us on Instagram and all the socials and things like that. And again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back soon. Thank you.